Audie Murphy, the one-man army, the boy who was too small for war, Texas, 1939. He was small, thin, barely 17. When Audie Murphy walked into the Army recruiting office in Greenville, the sergeant looked him up and down with a half-smile. "Son, you're what, 12?" Audie stood straighter. "17, sir." "You look like a breeze could break you." Audie didn't blink. "I want to fight." The sergeant sighed, flipping through paperwork. "The Army won't take you. Too small. Underweight." Audie stepped closer, eyes burning. "My father walked out. My mother is dead. I've got brothers and sisters to feed. And the only thing I know how to do," he tapped the stock of an imaginary rifle, "is shoot." The sergeant paused, seeing something in the boy's expression. "A hardness, a fire. Try the Marines," he said. "Try the paratroopers. They all rejected him. Too small, too weak, too young." But war doesn't care about size, and neither did Audie Murphy. Eventually, the Army relented. "Fine. We'll take you. Infantry." Audie smiled for the first time in months. "Infantry will do." 2. Transforming a boy into a soldier. North Africa. Sicily. Italy. Audie proved one thing again and again: small men can cast very, very large shadows. He was fast, quiet, perseverous. He moved like a ghost through the olive groves. In Italy, during a firefight near the Volturno River, his lieutenant was hit. Murphy sprinted under machine gun fire, dragging the officer back with superhuman strength. "How did you do that?" a soldier gasped. Murphy didn't look up. "I didn't think. I just ran." When German soldiers ambushed his platoon in a vineyard, Audie jumped out of cover, firing with both hands, cutting down the attackers before they even knew what hit them. Officers stared. "Who is this kid?" But the kid was becoming a weapon. 3. France, 1944. The beast awakens. By the time the Allies liberated southern France, Murphy had become a squad leader. His men followed him with absolute faith, because he had a sense of danger like no one else. One day, while clearing a village, he spotted movement inside a farmhouse. "That's a machine gun nest," he whispered. "How do you know?" a private asked. Murphy shrugged. "I can feel it." Moments later, bullets shredded the wall behind them. Murphy advanced alone, slipped around the flank, tossed grenades into the windows, then stormed the house and killed the survivors in close combat. When the platoon leader arrived, he found Murphy sitting on the steps, lighting a cigarette. "All clear, sir." His comrades gave him a nickname, the killing machine with the baby face. But the greatest moment of his life, and his legend, was still ahead. 4. January 26, 1945, the impossible battle. Colmar Pocket, France, freezing cold, snow falling like white ash, visibility low. Audie Murphy's company took cover in the woods as 6 German tanks, infantry, and self-propelled guns advanced toward them. Lieutenant Murphy looked around. Half his men were dead or wounded, the rest were pinned down, their anti-tank guns destroyed. The German armor crawled forward like metal beasts. A soldier screamed, "We're finished. We're done." Murphy stood. "No one retreats." "But sir," I said, "no one retreats." He sprinted forward alone toward a burning M10 tank destroyer hit earlier by enemy fire. Its ammunition inside was exploding, flames licking the sky. A private yelled, "Murphy, get back. That thing's gonna blow." Audie climbed on top of it. A wounded radio man nearby watched in disbelief. "He's lost his damn mind." Murphy grabbed the .50 caliber machine gun mounted on the M10 turret. He aimed at an entire German battalion, and he opened fire. 5. One man versus an army. German soldiers froze. Was this real? One man, standing on a burning tank, firing a heavy machine gun at them. Bullets cracked past Murphy's head. Shells exploded around him. Shrapnel tore into his leg. He didn't move. Didn't flinch. Didn't stop. He kept firing. He swept the infantry lines, cutting them down. He shot the crews of German half-tracks. He destroyed a squad of snipers. He forced tank commanders back into their turrets. The radio man screamed into the headset, "We've got a lunatic out here." Murphy snarled into the receiver, "Just keep feeding me targets." The tank beneath him exploded again, flames bursting beneath his boots. He stayed on it. 30 minutes alone. 30 minutes of hell. A German officer shouted, "Rucksack. Retreat." And the impossible happened. An entire German force began withdrawing from a single man. Murphy finally climbed down, leg bleeding, face black with soot, smoke billowing behind him like a demon emerging from fire. His men stared in awe. One whispered, "He's not human." Another, "He is the U.S. Army." 6. Aftermath. When officers asked Murphy why he didn't retreat, he answered, "My men were still out there." When asked why he kept fighting while wounded, "I had a perfect field of fire." When asked how he felt facing 6 tanks and a battalion alone, "I was too busy to feel anything." He received the Medal of Honor, the highest U.S. military award. He was 19 years old. 7. But heroes are human. After the war, Murphy suffered severe PTSD. He slept with loaded pistols. He screamed at night. He drank. He fought with shadows in the darkness, but he battled those demons, too, and spoke openly about trauma when no one else dared. He lived bravely. He died young, in a plane crash in 1971. But his legend lives on. 8. The men who stood alone. Audie Murphy wasn't strong. He wasn't big. He wasn't Superman. He was a kid who should have been rejected by the army, but he had heart. He had courage. He had fire. And on one frozen day in France, he stood on a burning tank and stopped an army because no one else could. That is why he remains one of the greatest American heroes of all time. Audie Murphy, Part 2. The hero who couldn't escape war. February 1945, France. The smoke from the Colmar pocket still hung over the frozen fields when Audie Murphy limped back to his unit. His uniform was shredded. His face was smeared with ashes. His hair was singed by flames. A medic rushed over. "Murphy, sit down, you need treatment." Audie brushed past him. Later, "How many men did we lose?" "3 wounded, but alive thanks to you." Murphy nodded slowly, exhaustion in his bones. "Then patch them first." "I'll wait." But he didn't sit. He stood guard, leaning against a tree, rifle in hand, like he was afraid the Germans might come back. His men watched him with reverence and worry. "Sir, you did the impossible," one private whispered. Murphy didn't smile. "There's no such thing as impossible out here. Just necessary." 1. A soldier. The war couldn't break. After the Medal of Honor incident, Audie was promoted, decorated, and praised across the front lines, but he didn't care for medals. He cared about staying alive and keeping his men alive. During a patrol in Germany, his platoon came under sniper fire. Bullets hissed past them from a farmhouse. His men ducked. Murphy didn't. He sprinted across the open field, alone, toward the building. "Lieutenant, N.O." a soldier screamed. Too late. Audie stormed inside. 3 shots echoed, then silence. He walked out calmly. "Sniper's gone," he said. His men stared at him. "How?" someone whispered. Murphy shrugged. "He missed." "I didn't." 2. The boy who couldn't die. In late April 1945, as the Allies pushed deeper into Germany, Murphy was wounded again by mortar shrapnel. He refused evacuation. The medic insisted, "You need a hospital." Murphy snapped, "You patch me right here. I'm not leaving my men." He stayed. He fought, and on May 8, 1945, when the Germans finally surrendered, Audie Murphy stood among the ruins, his uniform soaked by weeks of mud and blood. The war was over, but something inside him remained trapped in those frozen fields. 3. The return home. June 1945, Texas. Audie stepped off the train expecting to blend into the crowd. Instead, he was greeted by reporters, photographers, cheering crowds, and politicians eager to shake his hand. Flashbulbs exploded. People shouted his name. Audie. Audie Murphy, the hero of Europe. Audie forced a smile, but inside felt hollow. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt like a survivor. He once told a reporter, "Honor belongs to the ones who didn't come back, not to me." He meant every word. 4. Word that stayed inside him at night. Audie woke screaming, German voices, explosions, flames licking at his legs, machine guns rattling in the distance. Sometimes he crawled on the floor, thinking he was under fire again. He slept with a loaded pistol under his pillow. He avoided crowds. Sudden noises made him freeze. We now call it PTSD. Back then, they called it shell shock. Or worse, weakness. But none of those words fit Audie Murphy. He was too proud to ask for help, too broken to admit he needed it. 5. A Hollywood star is born one day. Actor James Cagney saw Audie on the cover of Life magazine. "A kid like that has a story Hollywood needs," he said. Cagney invited Murphy to Los Angeles. Audie thought it was a joke. "I'm not an actor," he told him. Cagney smiled. "You weren't a soldier either, until you were the best one we had." Murphy trained, practiced, Learned the craft. He starred in westerns, war films, dramas, then came the role that defined him. He played himself into Hell and Back, the movie made from his own autobiography. The film became the highest-grossing war movie in U.S. history for 20 years, but Murphy hated watching it. He once said, "I don't like reliving it. I lost too many friends." Hollywood made him famous, but fame didn't heal him. 6. Fighting a war no one could see. Audie Murphy became a spokesman for PTSD at a time when no one dared speak about trauma. He addressed Congress. He visited hospitals. He told soldiers, "You're not weak. You're wounded. And wounds can heal." But he couldn't heal his own. He gambled. He drank. He isolated himself. He slept little, yet he always remained kind, gentle, even with fans, children, veterans. A man with a storm in his heart trying to protect the world from its wind. 7. The final flight, May 28, 1971. Audie boarded a small private plane for a business trip in Virginia. Some say he looked tired, others say he seemed peaceful. As if something inside him had finally quieted. The plane crashed in the mountains. There were no survivors. America mourned. Thousands attended his funeral at Arlington National Cemetery. Soldiers saluted. Flags flew at half-mast. The bugle played taps, and there, among marble graves, rested a man who once stood on a burning tank and dared an army to come closer. 8. The legacy of a giant in a small body. Audie Murphy was 168 cm tall, 50 kg when he enlisted, rejected by multiple branches, underestimated by everyone, and yet he earned Medal of Honor, Distinguished Service Cross, Silver Star, twice, Bronze Star, Purple Heart, French Legion of Honor, Belgian Croix de Guerre, and many more. He became the most decorated U.S. soldier of World War II. But medals meant nothing to him. He once said, "I'd give them all back if it brought my men home." That is the measure of a hero, not the kills, not the medals, but the weight of the memories he carried, and the courage to live anyway. Audie Murphy, Part 3, The Ghost Who Still Stands on the Burning Tank, Arlington National Cemetery. Today, the sun rises slowly over endless rows of white tombstones. Birds circle the sky above the military graves, and visitors walk quietly between the stones. One marker stands out among thousands, Audie Leon Murphy, Medal of Honor. Fresh flowers appear there every day. Some come from old veterans, some from schoolchildren who learned his name only yesterday, some from people who simply admire the idea of a man who refused to quit. Audie Murphy is gone, but not really, not in the way ordinary men fade. 1. The legend seen through others' eyes. Ask a soldier today about Audie Murphy, and you'll hear the same description. He wasn't fearless, he just fought through fear. Generals teach his story, drill sergeants quote him, cadets at West Point study his tactics, but when people who knew him speak, the legend becomes human. His best friend after the war once said, "Audie's courage on the battlefield was real, but his courage off the battlefield, dealing with nightmares, trauma, memories, was even greater." A Hollywood director who worked with him recalled, he smiled for the camera, and cried when no one was looking. His wife, Pamela, who stayed with him through the dark years, said simply, he wasn't perfect. He wasn't trying to be perfect. He was trying to survive. And he did survive, for 46 years, carrying the weight of 2 wars, the one in Europe, and the one inside his own mind. 2. Visiting the battlefield again in the late 1960s, Audie was invited to France for a memorial ceremony. He walked the fields where he once fought. He saw the trees that still bore scars from bullets. He touched the soil where his friends fell. A French veteran approached him with trembling hands. "Monsieur Murphy, you saved many of us." Audie did not smile. He lowered his head and said quietly, "We all tried to save each other, some of us got lucky." The veteran shook his head, "Not luck, heart." Audie turned away as tears filled his eyes. He denied them softly, "No, not heart, duty." But everyone around him knew, it was heart. It always had been. 3. The men behind the medals. Audie Murphy received more decorations than any American soldier of his time, but he always viewed them with discomfort. Once, a reporter asked, "How does it feel to be America's most decorated hero?" Audie looked down at the ground. "It feels like a responsibility," he said, "because I know who really paid the price." He kept most of his medals in a drawer. He never displayed them in his home. He didn't brag. When a boy asked for his autograph and said, "Someday I want to be a war hero too," Audie kneeled in front of him. "Son," he said gently, "you don't want to be a war hero, you want to live in a world that doesn't need them." The boy never forgot it. 4. The final struggle. Audie Murphy's PTSD grew worse with age. He had insomnia, violent nightmares, sudden outbursts, deep depression, survivor's guilt. In the 1950s, he locked himself in a motel room for a week with a loaded gun, terrified of losing control. But instead of hiding these struggles, he did something unheard of. He spoke publicly about trauma. He testified before Congress. He encouraged treatment for veterans. He demanded mental health support for soldiers. He became the face of a movement long before the world understood the meaning of PTSD. Many veterans credit him with saving their lives. One wrote, "I survived Vietnam because Audie Murphy showed me that even the bravest man can struggle, and if he could ask for help, maybe I could too." That, more than medals, is his greatest achievement. 5. The day the sky took him back. May 28, 1971. A light rain fell over Virginia's Brush Mountain when the small private plane carrying Audie Murphy disappeared into fog. Hours later, search teams found the wreck. There were no survivors. The greatest American soldier of World War II had died not from bullets, explosions, or enemies, but from an accident on a quiet day. Thousands attended his funeral. A general saluted the coffin and said, "Today we bury a soldier, but we do not bury his courage." 6. The eternal echo of a burning tank at Arlington. Visitors often whisper, "That's the men who fought a battalion alone." Children ask their parents, "Is the story true?" And the parents answer, "Every word." Murphy's Medal of Honor citation describes his actions as extraordinary heroism. But soldiers tell a different version. He stood on a burning tank because his men trusted him. He stayed alive because he refused to die. He won because he simply wouldn't give up. And that is why his legend survives, not because of Hollywood, not because of medals, not because of books, but because every soldier who hears his name feels the same thing. If he could do it, if that tiny kid from Texas could stare death in the face and say, "Not today," then maybe I can survive this too. Audie Murphy's story is a lifeline tossed across generations. 7. The final image. Imagine him now, a small man, standing alone on a burning tank, snow falling around him, fire beneath his feet, bullets slicing the smoke, German armor advancing, and he doesn't move. He just keeps firing, because there is no one else, because his men need time to escape, because someone has to stand. That moment, frozen in history, is bigger than war, bigger than glory, bigger than medals. It is the essence of courage. It is Audie Murphy, forever standing on that burning tank, forever refusing to fall, forever reminding the world that heroes are born not from strength, but from heart.